What's up, YouTube Gen X? Let me be clear here. From day one, I've never tried to come on here and advocate for black men across the board. I'm advocating for the black men out there that are trying to be progressive and they're trying to do what they're supposed to do. Not so that they can get some sort of credit, but so they can be treated how they're supposed to be treated in terms of being treated fairly, right? And because they're supposed to be doing it. I don't care if they're blue collar, white collar, or somewhere in the middle. That's who I speak for. Now, as it relates to black women, I have said and other men have said, listen, we want a traditional relationship with black women, right? So we've talked about how if you didn't grow up in a family system, there's an issue. And you may need to understand what it means to be in a family and what it means to be in a healthy relationship, because your understanding of definition or black male leadership is off. This is not about somebody being a dictator or a tyrant or some beast that's running around the household yelling and screaming and pinning you down and doing whatever he has to do to you. It's not about that. So we have said, understand what it means to be in a relationship where you're submitted to your husband, and know what goes into that, because it's really not what you think it is, or it's not what you've been told it is. And it's important for you to understand that, because we are not going to change. We can negotiate on a whole bunch of different issues, but when it comes to that, that's not going to change at all. I'm sorry. That is set in stone. So you have a whole bunch of other options, but that's not going anywhere. So a lot of the conversation has been with the women who have a problem with that. And they've come through and they've talked about black men failing across the board, which I don't care about. That's not going to offset what I want. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen that way. It's not going to change my plan. It is what it is. And you've had the women that have come on and now said, well, even if you are on point, you still aren't doing what white men are doing. So we're still not going to get with your program. And we're saying that's not going to work either. Don't give me that whole, I'm not going to treat you based off of what you did, but I'm going to treat you on how black men are doing collectively. Don't give me that bullshit. Sorry. So with that being said, that's who we're conversating with. I'm not conversating with the black women who get it. I'm not conversating with the black women who know what it means to be in a family, who don't have issues with falling into that traditional role, okay, who understand what submission means and and they understand what it means to be in a family. I'm not arguing with them. I don't have a problem with y'all. My only issue is that we're not finding each other, and we're not working on methods and ways in which we can come together, because I know you get it. So for me, a lot of the times, it's just one of those, we need to be in the right place at the right time, because it's going to click. It's going to pop off. I have no doubt in my mind about that. If we can somehow manage to come together and understand what we can do, it's a good look for the black people who are family oriented and the black people who get it. So my problem, once again, it's not with y'all. My issue, once again, is with the black women that want to come through and have this sort of, we want this sort of equal partnership, or we want this sort of relationship where we want you to be successful, we want you to own up to all accountability, but when it comes to leadership, we want this level of equality, or I don't even know what y'all want, to the point where you've tried to submit whatever argument, and like I said before, maybe you guys need to go back and revise what you want, because it changes month to month or week to week. Now it's something new. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because we're not negotiating. You want men to be, these sort of men who go out into the world and get shit done. You're men who are able to support a family. That's fine. But understand that he's going to want a traditional relationship. So there's no way you're going to talk him out of that. Like I said before, we're not trying to get black women to accept, your black women who get it. We're not trying to get them to accept black men who don't want to go out and build, or who don't want to go out and be productive. So we're not going to come through and talk about how, well, black women are baby mamas, or where do black women fall in terms of womanhood across the board. Like, you're not going to negotiate. Your black female who has her shit together, we understand that she's not going to accept anything below a certain quality of man. We understand all that, so we're not negotiating. So we're telling you, no, it's not going to pop off. You're saying that, fine, it's not going to pop off because we want this sort of joint leadership. And like I said before, the biggest issue is a lot of the women who are in that camp are the women who did not grow up in a family environment, who don't know who their father is. They come from dysfunctional homes. And we're saying that what you think you know, you don't know. So get it together, because you're fighting a battle that you can't win. But at this point, I'm okay with the whole idea of us not being able to reach an agreement. Like I said before, if the black women who do get it, if we can focus on each other and figure out what we can do, that would be great. But as far as everybody else, I can care less. And like I said before, I know the vast majority of y'all are lying. Your women that are screaming about equalness and yada, yada, yada. I think a lot of you guys are lying. And when that man does come through with his shit together, you're going to, say peace out, to the black female sisterhood and hop on board. But like I said before, most men aren't going to put up with that game. They want you to be with the program from the word go, which I agree with. I'm not going to spend any time convincing a woman that she needs to be in a family system. I'm not going to spend any time doing that. I'm not going to play that game. But with that being said, we can move on. I think it's pretty clear that we're not going to see eye to eye. And there's no problem in that. It is what it is. Like I said before, the conditions that we have now are not ideal. And somehow, in some way, black men view the world a certain way, and black women, in terms of the black women in that group, tend to view the world in a certain way. So it's like, we might as well go our separate ways. No big deal. Here's the problem that I have, though. What you guys will do, and I don't know why, maybe it's to save face or to gain sympathy or whatnot, is you guys lie about what you're saying to black men behind closed doors. This is what kills me. Right? Here's exactly what you guys do. Behind closed doors, you're saying that you don't want to be traditional. You want something new and modern. You don't want to be like the women of old. Fine. But you go on national TV, or whenever there's a third party involved, what you will do is run to the idea that you guys are traditional and you want to be those sort of old school Claire Huxtable black women. But black men don't want that. So then it turns into who's lying. Black men are saying, or the productive ones are saying, the women are family oriented. They on some different shit. And the women are saying, oh no, we want to be traditional. We just can't find black men who can hold down a family. Then it turns into who's lying. And then when we get behind closed doors, you get the whole, we want equal partnership. And for me, it's like, tell the truth. Stop going on national TV or whatever and lying about it, because you're keeping that cycle going. Because then people say, well, what's going on? What's not happening? If, your black men are saying that they want the women to be a certain way, and the women are saying that they are that way, how come they're not coming together? And that's when you get all the poking and the prodding, and black men are failing, or what are black women not doing? Because a lot of you guys are coming on and you're lying about what's going on. Come out and tell the truth. Come out and talk about how we want, your well-to-do black men, but we want them to be these sort of equal partners. We don't want to be bound by certain traditional rules and regulations. We want something new. We want him to have accountability, but we want to be leaders as well. Or how come we can't lead as well? So you don't come out and talk about that. Why? Because most people are going to say that's fool talk. Most people aren't going to give you that sympathy. No one's going to give you that shoulder to cry on, because that's absurd. That's the part that kills me. And a lot of the times, that's what's keeping a lot of black women single. I don't, you can get into the whole physical or whatnot, but a lot of the times, the mentality's fucked up. Like I said before, black men are saying, your progressive black men are saying, yo, your family-oriented, well-to-do black men are saying, we want something traditional. Black women are saying, no, that's not going to work. These men are then going off and forming families with other women, other non-black women, because that program seems to work. Most other groups have no problems with what your well-to-do progressive black men want to have in terms of the relationship between men and women, because they are coming from that system as well. They are coming from a system where it's clear that, the men should lead and what it means to be in a family system and whatnot. They don't have a problem with that. The dumb part about it is you're trying to sell to black men this sort of new relationship that you're too afraid to go on national TV and talk about, because it's almost like people are going to smack it down. That's what I don't like. You're going on national TV, saying one thing, coming back to black men, and trying to bully them or get them to submit to how you want to run stuff, off of what bum-ass black men are doing, or off of the fact that we're not competing with white men and other men. Bullshit. Say that out loud. I would love for the Miss Heartbeats of the world to have a national platform where everybody can hear what her and other black women talk about. I would really love for that to happen. But I guarantee you put most of these black women on, and they're going to give you some different story. Oh, we're traditional. We want to be like Claire Huxtable. We want to be like the mothers and the grandmothers of old. No, y'all don't. Because at the end of the day, no one else is going to buy that. So if a white man or whoever wants to buy that sort of equal partnership or some sort of non-traditional relationship between men and women, but yet he's going off and building and being that sort of historic, providing sort of man, then by all means go off and do it. If that's what you really feel you want to do. Go find the men that will submit to that. But you'll understand that most men don't want to deal with that. You're going to attract your unproductive men, or your men that are like your type B, docile, tail between the leg sort of man. Your pushover. Your man that wants to be dominated, which a lot of women don't want anyways. Even if he does have his shit together, most women don't want that. They're not attracted to that. That's not what they really want. So if that's what you want to do, then go do it. But you're trying to rewrite how men and women operate. And no one's trying to buy it. So for me, I'm done with y'all. I'm good. I'm good. But like I said before, you guys are the one that's continuing this argument. You're the one that keeps on breathing new life to a agreement, or to a argument or a discussion that we've already ended. You go your way, I'm going to go my way. So the next time somebody puts a camera in your face or says, let's do a documentary, or let's do a special, or let's do an article, tell the truth on what you want. Don't lie about it. So that's my vid. I think I've covered everything. Like I said, I know that there's black women out there that get it, so it's more so about us trying to make it work. And we know that in terms of your black men that are family-oriented and well-to-do, that there is a market outside of black women. Not because, we're the shit because we're black men, but because other groups still hold on to this sort of traditional relationship between men and women, especially if that man is doing what the traditional man is supposed to do. Simply put. And I've kind of touched on this in the video I did about interracial dating in Southern California, where it's not so much about race, but it's more so about the lifestyle that you can provide. As a man, if you can prove that, you can have a certain lifestyle where your kids are going to a certain school and you're living in a certain neighborhood, you can be the sort of providing sort of man. Most women are going to fall in line with that program, despite your race. It's not a big deal because more people are concerned with lifestyle in Southern California because it is somewhat more expensive to do well out here. And I'm sure that it probably goes on in other major cities where the cost of living is relatively higher and the women are like, I'm just concerned about quality of lifestyle and I would rather be in that sort of traditional relationship and reap all the benefits of having that sort of traditional male. It is what it is. We can sell our product in other places. But black women, in terms of the ones that we're done having this sort of conversation with, you can't go off and sell your products. But the sad part is, y'all don't even want to admit to the product you're trying to push on black men. That's the part that's scary. And like I said before, black women can give me examples of black women married to non-black men to kingdom come, and like I said, it does happen. But as I said before, a lot of the times it's on some different shit. They may be married to that white male who's not the type A, who's the man that wants to be sort of dominated. Or they'll get married to the white guy who's on that different shit where he doesn't want to have kids. Go ahead, you can go to LA right now. You'll see, white men married to black women. But it's not like they're having kids or whatnot, because a lot of them are on some different shit. So when it comes down to black women being able to have this sort of new definition of how men and women are supposed to interact, good luck going off and finding another group of men that are going to accept that. Because it's not going to happen. I'm not trying to be a prick, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm done with it. I'm done, we can move on. That's my vid. Y'all take it easy. God bless. What up, YouTube Jennings? There's one more thing I forgot to add. And I've also mentioned this point before. A prime example of what I talked about in this video happens with the older generation. And I've said on multiple occasions, I do have a hard time when the older generation wants to weigh in, because oftentimes they fall for the same bullshit, where the daughters and the nieces run, and the granddaughters run to the parents and the grandparents, telling them that they're trying to be traditional and they're trying to walk in the same footsteps as grandmama, mama, auntie, or whatnot, so that they can have their approval, so that they can get their sympathy and that shoulder to cry on. But when it comes to the men, they're saying something completely different. I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to be like my aunt. I don't want to be like my grandma. So when the grandparents and the older generation come at us, they're coming at us on some, what's wrong with y'all? How come you don't want your own kind? And they're trying to be traditional. And then it turns into a he said, she said argument. And oftentimes what happens? They take the side of the women. Why? Because women have that stereotype that just because they're women, they want to be family oriented. They want to be mothers, especially if they're older. They want to be traditional. So it's easier for the older generation to side with the women. And it turns into the men are just lying and, black men are just so off. They don't get it. They don't care about preserving the race, so they don't care about black love. And that's where I get annoyed. Like I said, I've had this happen to me where I'm damn near getting cussed out. And I'm like, y'all not understanding what's going on. You guys are being lied to. They're running to y'all, telling y'all what you want to hear. But behind closed doors, they're flat out saying, I'm not trying to be like her. Real talk, I love my mom to death, but I'm really not trying to be like her, yada, yada, yada. So I just had to add that in there, because I'm sure for most of the men out here, we've all had that conversation where we had some family member or some older person in our lives try to weigh in and get on us, and it's like, yo, somebody got to you. Somebody lied to you. What you think is going on is not going on. Out of all the older folks I've talked to, I've really only had one person that's understood where I was coming from in terms of, I see what you're talking about, young man. She saw it. Because she knows what's going on with that younger generation, that younger crowd. She's one of those older ladies that's still in touch with the younger crowd. She saw it. And she's like, you know what? I hear you. I do hear you. And I'm not falling for the trap. A lot of these young girls are on some different shit. So anyways, I had to add that to the pot. Y'all take it easy. God bless.